Warning, this video is not meant for kids with who are easily scared or anyone who's easily scared in this manner, and also includes some gruesomeness in some parts. So just be warned, and let's get on with the video. Hopefully you all enjoy it. Hello! You probably think something scary was gonna happen. Well, there isn't. Hello everyone, I'm JTubes, and today we are creating something new. We are going to do 3 scary videos, or we're going to react to them, in a new series of Scary Tuesdays. Doesn't sound right, so I'm probably going to change it, but every Tuesday we're going to react to 3 or more scary videos. If you want to submit your own that you think will make me poo myself, then I will have a link to my social medias down below, and you can send them to me there. Anyway, without further ado, I'm going to be scared through this, but here we go. Number 1. I think this is like a McDonald's horror movie. Yep, there it is.
This story occurred around the early 2000s, back when I was still in elementary school.
Oh, lovely.
I was in my early teens, so the monotonous school life was something I always dreaded. My mom always picked me up from school as her workplace was just down the street, so getting a ride was always less strenuous than walking home. She would usually stop by our local McDonald's just before heading home, as she didn't really prepare home-cooked meals due to the exhaustion of being a single mother. As much as I adored my mom, the lack of home-cooked meals and abundance of McDonald's...
Can I just say that looks delicious, even though it's like a picture. Anyway, enough about that.
always kept me out of shape for the latter part of my teen years. The one thing I found genuinely pleasing about that McDonald's was the enormous play place attached to the restaurant itself.
That looks so fun.
My mom usually... There was this one occasion, though, that really disturbed me to my core, and it seeps into my daily thoughts from time to time.
Scary time.
I remember being picked up from school and heading over to that same McDonald's venue to pick up some takeout for that evening. As we got inside, I recall my mom ordering the usual Big Mac combo while I casually glanced at the play place through the glass window of where the eating area was.
Jimmy, what drink would you like? Jimmy?
Uh-oh.
Son? What drink would you like?
I remember zoning out at this particular moment and could recall the echoes of my mom calling out for me. It was almost as if I couldn't move a muscle, like my entire body was in a state of shock, traveling through space and time into another dimension. It felt like it was just me in the play place, like I had the entire setup all to myself.
Jenny, what drink do you want?
I'll get a Coke, Mom. As my mom headed back to complete the rest of the order, I could recall seeing the reflection of a Ronald McDonald clown standing from a distance behind me, almost like he wanted my attention. I know you can see me on the reflection of the glass. That's when I casually turn towards the direction of the clown and say, can I help you, sir? Yes, my dear boy. Do you or your mother want to see what a pyromaniac can do with a little fire? We're just here to pick up a Big Mac, so no thanks. Maybe I can cook you a delicious giant Big Mac with my fire abilities so that you will never need to come to McDonald's again.
Hey, leave us alone or I will call the cops.
Go ahead and call them. I'll just teach my cellmates how to start a fire and make an explosion oh so beautiful.
Let's get out of here, Jimmy.
That's when we get inside my mom's vehicle and drive away from the McDonald's. Or should I say the clown. About a week after that bizarre encounter, I spent the majority of my time playing Duck Hunt on my Nintendo, as my computer lacked the entertainment that today's modern computer has. I eventually went back to that local McDonald's, as I surprisingly missed the food, but more importantly, the play place.
Of course.
As the day transitioned into the evening, my mom dropped me off there, as the company of the local teens in the neighborhood made her feel a little more comfortable doing so.
I'll be back at 10 p.m. sharp. Call me if you want me to pick you up earlier, okay?
Okay, Mom. I decided to
Uh-oh.
call my neighbor friend Chris using the payphone located outside the McDonald's venue.
Oh no.
Hello? Hey, Chris, it's Jimmy. You still coming to McDonald's tonight? Oh, yeah, I'll be there in one. Hey there, long time no see. What the hell do you want? Let me show you how I make my fire. Get the hell away from me or I'll call the cops.
What do you want? Siblings. Anyway, back to the video.
Fine, have it your way then. Your little behind couldn't handle all this smoke anyway. That's when I ran inside the McDonald's and immediately made my
Oh,
way
heck
inside
nah.
the play place. But I ultimately decided to take the high road and waited out until it was time for my mom to pick me up. I remember making my way up through the tunnels of the playground as I just
Oh,
wanted to
no.
reach the very top and avoid
Really?
any further encounters
Bruh.
with any other weirdos. I eventually reached the top of the platform and remember basking in the view, as the array of colors from the ball pit was always something I found oddly satisfying to look at. That's when I noticed a familiar head beginning to protrude from the balls in the pit.
Oh.
It was the
heck
clown.
Nah.
The same clown from earlier, looking up at me with his ominous smile and revolting eyes. What the hell is going on? Why isn't anyone acknowledging this freak? The clown just stood there looking at me as if nothing mattered besides myself and his existence. I know you can hear me up there. What the hell do you want? Jump! Hell no, leave me alone!
Really?
Oh, don't worry, it's totally safe, Jimmy. Now jump. No, I'm not doing it. Jump! 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 That's when I look to my left and see my friend Chris right next to me. We have no choice. What the hell? Now it's your turn, you little brats! Jump! 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 I began to close my eyes and hyperventilate as I felt a sudden surge of adrenaline flowing through my body. But then I began to feel a rather odd sensation, something like a fiery substance burning the hairs on the back of my neck off. That's when I open my eyes and find myself on my apartment balcony with my entire building engulfed in flames.
Well, that was lovely. Next video. Okay, now this one is another fast food restaurant, Chuck E. Cheese. And this one has 3 stories, so I guess we're starting out with 4. Hope y'all enjoy. And yeah. Here we go. Alright.
Remember Chuck E. Cheese? That old arcade with the singing animatronics? Of course you do. I just found out they went bankrupt recently. It made me think back to my horrible experience there as a very little kid. I was no older than 8 or 9. It was like my 3rd and last time ever at a Chuck E. Cheese. This specific location closed down years ago, but it used to
Already,
be
this is
basically down
creepy.
the street from our old house. My mom took my little brother and I, and she let us roam free and do our own thing and play the games, while she sat at one of the tables reading like most of the other parents.
Oh, that looks so
I was
fun.
playing this clown game where you had to shoot the clown's teeth out with this little cannonball shooter. I was playing the games that would get me the most tickets for the prizes. I finished the
course.
game again, and the tickets shot out from the ticket slot. That's when I felt a tap on my shoulder.
Uh-oh.
I turned and jumped in my seat. I was greeted with a giant Chuck E. Cheese mascot in my face. He held out his hand for a high five, and naturally I gave him his high five with a smile. He then pointed at the tickets and gave me a thumbs up. I think I just continued laughing and smiling and said, yeah. Then he pointed at the tickets once more and motioned for me to follow him. So I ripped
Oh,
the tickets
no.
from the slot and followed the giant mascot.
Nah, heck that.
As we walked across the main floor, a couple other kids around like 6 came up to him saying, "Hey Chucky," and he
I'm
gave
getting
them
the
both high
chills from
fives.
this.
I kept following him, wondering if he'd tell the other kids to follow, but he didn't. He would turn back every few seconds to make sure I was still following. Finally, we made it across the main floor by the stage towards this back area, where he waved me to follow him through this employees-only door. From what I remember about how I was feeling, let's just say a combination of weird and excited. We entered this narrow hallway, and I felt kind of special for being allowed access back here. Keep in mind, I had the mind and maturity of a very young child.
This is
The
lovely.
mascot led me to this back room where he motioned for me to enter first, so I did.
Heck this. If this ever happened to me, I would just be like, boy, you want to go? You want? Nah, I'm not going with you. I'm not. Yeah, you stay back, boy. Maybe that's a bit intense, but I'd just fight my way out of that.
It was this small changing room type of room. It had a few lockers on one wall and one long bench extending half the length of the room. That was it. He entered the room and shut the door behind us, and I noticed he locked it. That's when I
This is where you fight, boy. You better fight. Oh
became
no.
confused and afraid. I thought he was taking me to get a bunch of free tickets. What could he possibly do in this empty room with me?
A lot of
He
stuff.
approached me, put his furry mascot hand on my shoulder, and then started rubbing from my shoulder to my arm. That's when the person in the suit lifted the mask off his head, revealing some sweaty, middle-aged man underneath. He started to remove the rest of the costume from himself as he told me to be quiet. I sat there watching, shaking, and plotting my way for the door. When I thought he was distracted enough by the suit, I tried to run past him for the door, but he grabbed me and told me to stop. He offered me all the free tickets I wanted if I just behaved. I started to yell and pound on the door. He tried to cover my mouth, but I think he gave up when he realized it wasn't worth the risk for him. I unlocked the door and ran back down the hall in tears. I ran back to my mom, yelling at her about what just happened. She was distraught and went right to the front desk. The girl at the front desk seemed to be in a panic as well, and I think she called for her supervisor. Pretty soon, all the music was stopped and the place was put into a lockdown of sorts, where all the kids were to go to their parents. A bunch of workers ran to the back section, and eventually police showed up outside. I had to give my whole story to a crowd of like 6 people, and I was extremely nervous. The man in the Chucky suit was some random creep who snuck into the back section of the building to dress in one of the suits and apparently lure children to the back. Realizing and looking back at that now as a grown adult is disturbing and disgusting, that I was the victim of a predator. I never found out if that monster was caught.
Okay, maybe we won't continue that story. But what the heck? That was more of yikes than scary. Okay, next video, or last video, let's say. Okay, last video. This one will ruin your childhood. It's a Disney World horror story. Yay! Oh, this is gonna be fun.
Being a single mom is hard, very hard. I hate my job. I have a slew of late pickup charges from my son's daycare, and my body has gone fat from years of fast food dinners and alcohol abuse. Every day is a struggle. My mind is a prison cell, and I lost the key to the door so long ago that I don't even care to look for it anymore. That is why when I won a trip to Disney World through my company's annual raffle, I nearly cried tears of joy. Nothing good ever happens to my son and I. The list of our misfortunes are as long as my arm, and this trip provided us with the one thing that we thought we would never recover: hope. You can imagine my horror then.
Why are these all so sad now? Hopefully this gets creepy, or else this is just gonna be sad. Even more.
When I lost my son during the final day of our trip.
There
We
it
were
is.
making our way over to Space Mountain when suddenly I had to use the restroom. I told my son to sit on a nearby bench while I did my business, and then disappeared into the first clean stall like.
This is where you messed up. You don't leave your son without a supervisor in the middle of Disney World. You know what could happen? He sees candy walk by, or like a candy shop, runs over, lose him, probably did. That's where you messed up.
I could find. When I exited the restroom a few minutes later, though, he was gone.
What did I just say? He vanished. He's gonna vanish, probably to a nearby candy store, or sees Mickey Mouse walk by. And now he dead, probably.
Fear gripped me as I whirled my head around the scattered crowd, trying my best to locate him before he wandered out of sight. My efforts were futile, though. I spent the next 5 hours scouring the park in a panicked frenzy. No matter how hard I looked, though, I couldn't find him. Just as I was about to call the police, I found him sitting on the bench that I had left him on earlier that day.
I don't think that's your son. This thing right here. That is not a kid. That is a demon. You don't need a police. You need a priest or something.
He was wearing a full-body Mickey Mouse costume, and I would have walked right past him if I hadn't recognized the worn-out Scooby-Doo backpack resting on his knees.
Not the kid.
I ran over to him and wrapped my arms around his head.
Nope.
His body was limp in my arms. If
he
it
did.
wasn't for the steady rise and fall of his chest against my thigh, I would have thought he was unconscious.
Oh, okay.
Where have you been? I swear I looked all over Magic Kingdom for you. And where did you get that Mickey Mouse costume? He didn't answer.
That's
It
not
was
your
at this
kid.
point that I became concerned. My son is
Now you're
normally
concerned?
very talkative. It was unlike him to be so reserved, especially after such a traumatic event. Why don't you take off that mask? I want to see that you are okay. I reached down to pull off his mask, but he swatted my hands away with such force I staggered back a step.
Not your kid.
Never before had he hit me. The blow surprised me so much that I stood there, motionless on the sidewalk, for almost a minute, unsure of how to respond. Eventually, though, I regained my wits and sat down on the bench next to him. I know you are scared, I said, but everything is all right now. We're together again. You're safe.
No, he's not.
Once again, no answer.
Mhm.
Why aren't you talking to me? Are you hurt? No answer. I tried for several more minutes to get him to respond, but I might as well have been talking to a mannequin.
Or
All
dead
he would do
person.
was sit there unmoving on the
think.
bench, staring off into the distance through his mouse eyes. The only time he would move was to swat my hands away every time I tried to remove his mask. We sat on the bench for over an hour before I grabbed his hand and led him back to our hotel room.
That's not
Luckily,
your
he
kid.
didn't resist as I maneuvered him through a crowd. To my
That's a
surprise,
murderer.
he followed me with dog-like docility and even allowed me to tuck him into bed that night, Mickey Mouse costume and all. I debated that night whether to contact the park authorities about his disappearance and stolen suit, but decided against it. My gut was telling me that I should, but I was just
And maybe you should, cause then you'll realize that ain't your kid. People these days don't understand what to do.
too exhausted to prolong the matter. He seemed relatively unharmed for one thing, and we had to get to the
Or you're
airport
dead.
by 6 the next morning. Calling the authorities would potentially extend our stay, and I couldn't afford to buy another pair of plane tickets. So I kept the matter to myself and drifted off into a light sleep the moment my head hit the pillow.
And that look is when you realize you dead. Like, you full on dead. Like, that ain't your kid, he a murderer, you dead. I'm not sure how to make this more clear, but you dead.
We arrived home around sunset the next afternoon. My son still wasn't talking and continued to swat my hands away every time I tried to remove his costume. At this point, my concern skyrocketed. Not only was his behavior so bizarre, but he hadn't eaten or drank anything in over a day. Unless he was sneaking food and water while I wasn't looking, he had to be on the brink of dehydration. I decided to take him to the doctor early that next morning.
I heard drink of heat. The drink of dehydration. That make no sense, but let's go with it.
Something terrible had obviously happened to him while he was missing, and I felt like a failure mother for waiting so long to get him help.
You don't sound like a mother.
When we arrived at the doctor's office, he threw such a fit that the nurses had to restrain him. No matter how hard they tried to remove his mask though, he always found a way to counter their efforts. It was as if that thing was plastered onto his head. Eventually, the doctor became so concerned that he decided to do an X-ray. He told me that it was the quickest way to assess his health through the costume, and that they would devise a plan while the X-ray processed to remove his mask. I thanked him for his help and then watched as they escorted my son into another room. The doctor returned a few minutes later. His face was so pale, I feared that he might pass out. "We finished the X-ray," he said, voice shaky. "Thank goodness," I said. "Is he all right?"
No, he ain't.
The doctor stared at me for almost a minute without responding, hands shaking. "Is something wrong?"
Obviously.
His head and spinal cord are the only parts of him underneath the costume. The rest of his body is missing.
But anyway, what a way to end it. So anyway, this has been Scary Short Story Tuesday. I'll find out another good name for it. Ooh, or maybe you guys could comment a new name for it in your posts or sending me videos. Comment your name or the name I should use. Send me your stories or videos that you want me to react to. And anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed it. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye. Oh heck.